Welcome to hell. So I do want to just start out by saying this video is not a call out. I mean, I guess it is kind of a call out, but like, don't respond. I'm not interested in what you have to say. Hey, this is me telling you that you're bad, but I also don't want an apology. I just want you to not do it again. Honestly, like, I think the Christian concept of love and forgiveness is really too saturated in our culture. Everybody wants redemption. Stop that. Ugh. It's fucking cats. They think they should get fed right now, but it's not dinner time. Hey, stop it. If you can't behave, I will hold you hostage. So this video is a rant, but I do say it with the understanding that everyone involved in this is a human being, and like, I get that people make mistakes and people get caught up in like populist fervor. Good God, stop screaming. Gotta get out, a coworker bought me this Jewish space laser, maybe that will help. It's not sponsored, just like to support corporations out of the goodness in my heart. So ignore this, I just have to entertain my terrible sons. If you're interested in getting cats, just so you know, you should probably get 2 for maximum cat lady affect. Even if you are married, you can still be a cat lady. Although being a lesbian is probably peak cat lady. If you're bisexual, you can still apply. It just, your mileage may vary. God, I really hope that's not too loud. So look, I do want to say we all have biases and blind spots, but this is just so beyond the pale that I can't excuse it. Like, oftentimes when our faves make mistakes, we like to be like, oh, well, you know, they're a person, they're just a human being. But like, at a certain point, a mistake is just so egregious. It's not a mistake, it's a choice, and it's disgusting. And that's, I mean, like, it's not just about SWOOP, which is what this video is about. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. It's also about just how the culture has decided that this is acceptable to do. And like, following along with it as a progressive is deeply fucking inappropriate. I gotta make this stop. They're too chaotic. It's like the witching hour, but for kitties. So there's a lot to unpack here, but if you'd rather just throw the whole suitcase away, I fully support you. Watch something else. I do love you. Take care of yourself. So trigger warning for intimate partner abuse, physical abuse. I mean, trigger warning for the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard case. We'll just say that right now. And as I do want to leave this off with, I believe Amber Heard. If you don't, this video is not for you. I guess even if you don't, if you're not sure what, okay. If you're a Johnny Depp stan, this video is not for you because you're a kind of a monster. Like, I don't believe in stan as like a political ideology. If you support somebody without any regard for the kind of person they are, you're just an ideologue. Like, you don't have like a belief. You're just empty. So, you know, you need to like reevaluate that if that's someone who you are. If you're a Johnny Depp stan, I need you to unpack why. Because you are doing serious harm to like actual people right now. And Amber Heard won't see this, but domestic violence survivors in your life will, and they will see that you are not a safe person. I've already blocked so many people who are like Depp apologists, and it's deeply concerning to see all these people who like I think of as pretty progressive, liberal-minded folks who are just like, men get abused too, which is something that only ever gets brought up when it's a woman doing the accusing. Like, we don't talk about how in same-sex relationships and in gay relationships and queer relationships that the rate of abuse is almost as high as in straight relationships. We don't talk about gay men being abused. We don't talk about men being abused by their partners unless there's another accusation at hand. So let's just put that men get abused too away for a second. Let's just put that in a box, and we will address it. I do want to say that I'm not going to be unpacking the whole case in this video just because I thought about it. I thought about doing like an itemized like response like I did in the Paytas video to SWOOP's just incomprehensible mess of trash. But I realized that's probably not good self-care. I'm like a little triggered by this case but mostly through seeing people deny it. Like, it's not really the details of the case that do it for me in terms of like reminding me of my trauma. It's more so people just not believing Amber Heard and people deifying Johnny Depp, because it is just so reminiscent of every experience anyone who's ever been abused by a man will have. Anyone who's ever been abused by an authority figure will have. So there's that. So I'm not going to itemize the case because people with more information already have done it. I'm just going to talk about what I feel like talking about and the facts of the situation, and try not to get too angry, because I was angry yesterday, I've been angry all weekend, and now at this point I'm just kind of like tired and frustrated, because like it's a bad situation and it's only going to get worse, and especially in the current political climate that is bad. It's hard to not lose all hope. I'll be real. It's hard to not lose all hope. It's hard to not feel defeated. It's hard to not feel as though the world is falling apart. And I mean, you know, Amber Heard is not every woman. In a lot of ways, she's deeply privileged. And honestly, that makes it kind of worse. It makes it a lot worse, because she has every advantage. She's not a perfect victim, and I'll talk more about that later, but she has a lot of advantages that a lot of women in these situations don't, and she's still being just castigated. So, yeah. So the person I'm mostly talking about today is SWOOP. She's a YouTuber, and she's used to be known as Spanky on YouTube, but her channel got like nuked by the site, which is entirely a different story. You can look that up. She's talked about it online. But she used to be a makeup YouTuber, and she kind of came to prominence like in the larger YouTube community because she was talking about like the racism kind of inherent in that part of the platform. And that's, I think, some really important work she's done. I always want to commend people when they're part of a marginalized group for coming forward, because it doesn't make it better. Like, the amount of racist trolling she's received since, you know, coming out about racism in the community is probably like doubled, tripled, quadrupled. Like, whenever someone comes forward about being harassed, the harassment only gets worse. That is something that I personally have experienced. So like, it is really brave to come out and like talk about something having seriously damaged your mental health in the way that she has. Like, she's been a really, I think, not even just an effective communicator. She's just a really good YouTuber, and I support her. Like, as a subscriber, I'm a subscriber. I like her videos a lot. I've rewatched a couple of them, actually, more than once, because I have this thing where I rewatch YouTube videos for comfort. It's been a really rough couple years, but I've really enjoyed her and supported her for the last year or so, and I guess my primary feeling about this was anger and disappointment that she went so off the rails here. She really, truly, completely torpedoed her reputation for me, because I thought of her as a pretty progressive social justice person. Not just because she is, you know, an anti-racist, but also because she has always, you know, talked about her own privilege when that's applicable, and talked about her personal experiences while also, like, you know, being very open. And I thought, okay, this is someone who like really cares about issues. And then not just the content of her video, but the affect of her video really gave a lie to that. So let me just get into the actual meat and potatoes here. So this video, at long last, is me calling her out for making content about the Depp-Heard case and monetizing it. And not just, she doesn't just have ads in the videos. She has 2 videos out right now as of Sunday night when I'm filming. She has 2 videos out, and not only are they both monetized, but they both have different sponsors. They both have sponsors. And that's fucking egregious. I don't know, like, even if you're just like making informational content, talking about the case as a YouTuber, like for your followers, I would not monetize content talking about a domestic abuse and rape trial. This is a libel trial. In print, it's libel, right? Yeah. So slander is spoken, print is libel. I love that quote so much. I say it all the time. I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm going to kind of be pretty hard on Spanky here. So please know that everything I'm saying is coming from a place of just deep disappointment and anger and frustration and exhaustion. So, she monetized these videos. She has sponsors on them. She has, let me see how many subscribers she has. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but she has a lot. And she does on average get more views than she has subscribers, which means that her channel is like, you know, pretty alive and well. So she has 359,000 subscribers. And she's posted 2 videos in the last 2 weeks. 10 days ago, how Johnny Depp destroyed Amber Heard, what everyone missed. And then 2 days ago, proof Amber Heard lied about Johnny Depp's finger. New evidence everyone missed. And like, this is not uncommon right now. Like, every couple videos recommended by a different algorithm will be Johnny Depp dumping on his ex for 5 minutes, Johnny Depp killing it in the courtroom, Amber Heard being beaten to a pulp by honesty. Like, and if you don't understand why that's in bad taste, let me quickly enlighten you. This is a case about Johnny Depp suing his ex-wife so that she will stop writing about his alleged abuse of her. She didn't address him by name, by the way, although it did, you know, it was implied in an op-ed that she wrote a couple of years ago. And the case has been ongoing since, both in the UK and here. But he filed specifically in Virginia, so that there could be courtroom footage, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew this. He filed in Virginia, not in Washington, or not in the state where she's a resident either. Not in DC and not in California, where I believe she is a resident. Because he could have cameras in the courtroom. He wanted this to be in the public domain. This is a reputation thing. If you don't already know about this, I will get to everything in good time. But it's a rant video. If it was organized, it wouldn't be a rant video. So there are 2 possibilities here. If you were to believe, there's 2 stories being peddled. One, either Depp was horrifically abused by Amber Heard, or Amber Heard was horrifically abused by Depp. There are no other alternatives. The 2 stories being presented here are horrific abuse on one side or the other. And I don't think making funny videos where you laugh and sing and have like a little silly affect is appropriate for that. I think that if you are a domestic abuse survivor, you should understand that if it's not your trauma that you're talking about, you should be respectful of other people. Even if you believe that Johnny Depp is the victim, making videos like being like, my king, being sarcastic in the courtroom, like, even if you believe him to be the wounded party, that is fucking ghoulish, and I am disgusted by you. Like, you should be ashamed. You should be embarrassed that, like, you think that that's funny. And I sincerely hope at this point that all the content being created for this is like a PR campaign, because I hope they're all getting paid. I hope this is like a Soros-style conspiracy. Because if all these people in the world have independently got up and said, you know what's a really good look, is making jokes about this fucking abuse trial. I am so fucking horrified. I know it's probably not all like a coordinated PR campaign. They're just using what they've got. But the reality of it is just so sickening. I'm sickened. I'm not opposed to all content being made about the trial. Obviously, there has to be news. And I'm actually going to link a video below that I'm going to talk about a lot during this video. It's really just an exemplary video of how this should be discussed and the respect that we owe this conversation, and also the problems that this conversation brings up by Princess Weeks. She is just, I love her. But ultimately, I think her video is a really well put expression of everything that I feel about this. And I mean, obviously, like, she really kept calm in a way that I don't think I'm going to be able to do for this. She really expressed all the ideas that I've had about this case and all the feelings that have been bubbling up over the last couple days. And also the reality of the situation, which is that most domestic abuse survivors will never come forward because of situations like this, because they know that this is what happens, because it's not worth it. I'm also going to link some news stories and some other stuff about the case that has come through from a couple journalists who are really reporting on the ghoulishness of the PR campaign around this. So thank you, that will be in the description. Hi, Pippin. Are you here to raise spirits considering the content? You're just gonna vibe here? The Pip abides. So, as of right now, Sunday night, Swoop has made 2 different videos. And I'm gonna call her Swoop and Spanky interchangeably, because that's just how I know her. I think I know her first name, but like, that's what she calls herself. It's what I remember. So, not important. She's made 2 videos. Stop it. Okay, I will play with you. And they're both clearly biased against Amber Heard, both in the thumbnail and the title, and like, she says, like, she gestures at being fair by saying allegedly, but she clearly believes Johnny Depp and does not believe Amber Heard. And she's bought into the narrative that Depp's people are dictating. And the reason for that, I believe, is that either sexism, like either she really just does not believe Amber Heard because she thinks that if a man comes forward, he's more trustworthy, or, and I'm sure that's internalized, like I don't think she hates women, or it's because she is a fan of Johnny Depp, and she thinks she really likes Tim Burton, so that might work as like a working theory. But it's really disgusting that she repeatedly says in the videos, like, she's a domestic violence survivor, so she's going to be biased, but clearly, even though she is a woman who's a domestic violence survivor, she's biased toward the man in the situation, which, I'm not saying men can't be victims, I would never say that. Domestic violence comes in all shapes and sizes and all stripes, and anyone can be a victim of literally any form of violence. Like, there is no, like, moral barometer for who gets to be a victim. It is just statistics that women are more likely to be victimized by men. And that does not negate any of the other experiences. It just means that it's kind of like believing the, like, oh, well, this is the 2% situation where someone is lying. This is the 2% situation where somebody isn't telling the truth. But it's abundantly clear from the very beginning whose side she's on. And she claims, like, oh, well, this video is going to be a little one-sided because I don't have Amber's testimony yet. Amber's testimony video is even more biased than the one with Johnny. And I'm not going to go through details. Like, I thought about doing that, and it was too much for me. I couldn't handle it. So I'm just going to cover a couple little things and hope that it just comes through. But even the fact these videos exist at all is egregious to me. Like, I hope you understand, if you're just like, an average YouTube viewer, making content about this stuff, this is a real person. This isn't like this isn't like making an educational video about like the murder of Emmett Till, or like talking about like, Thomas Jefferson. Like, this isn't like history. These are real people with real families and real lives. Like, Amber has a daughter, she has parents, she has siblings. Like, these are real people who you are calling liars and gold diggers. Like, these are real human beings. And I'm not saying that Johnny Depp isn't a real person, but he is so beyond famous. Like, he is a permanent A-lister, and that means that he does not live the regular life that other people do. Like, I don't think people understand just how differently celebrities live than us. They are not just like us. They live on a different plane of existence. And the thing is, I personally don't care about either of these people's movie stars. I've liked movies that I've seen both of them in, but I'm not really attached to either of them. I'm not a stan. And I wasn't really aware about their personal lives before the divorce and everything started to blow up, but like, when you look at it from an objective view, a man in his 50s marrying a woman in her 20s who's a lot less famous and rich than he is, it draws a picture, especially if he started dating her before he split up with his ex. So there's that. And there's also the fact that, like, Depp has a reputation in the industry, and I'm not going to bring in his, like, abusive substances, because that's, like, even if alcoholism... And I'm not going to bring up his abusive substances because, like, it's not really relevant to this video. But Johnny Depp has a reputation in the industry. And regardless of why you beat someone up or why you treated someone like shit, if you treat someone like shit and you get a reputation for doing so, that's valid. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I was drunk when you beat someone up and, like, that makes it okay. Like, I'm not, like, here to deny that alcoholism is a disease. Like, addiction is a disease. There's a genetic component. It's not really a choice in any way. It's not any more a choice than depression or anxiety is. But ultimately, you're still responsible for your actions when you're an addict and you do things that are wrong. There isn't, like, a get-out-of-rape-free card if you're an alcoholic. Like, you do have to still, be fucking accountable for your actions. Pippin, don't do that. Come over here. I think it really just rubbed me the wrong way that she was so immediately and obviously biased against Amber Heard, because she really bends over backwards to excuse Johnny Depp's behavior and to criticize Amber Heard, and I don't know why. I don't know why she did this. I have my theories, as I said, but, like, it's obvious that she doesn't believe Amber, and it's equally obvious that she doesn't have a reason to not believe her, because she clearly like, despite what she said about research, didn't look into the evidence. And aside from the problem that I have with the monetization, SWOOP's affect in this video is fucking insane. She has like a light, bouncy affect for a video that's literally about domestic violence. She's just acting bubbly as though this isn't literally a victim relieving their trauma in front of the world. That's just disgusting. I don't like that she's also using this as this is reaction content for money on YouTube. Why? This isn't YouTube Rewind, it's literally a court trial. And again, with the monetization, I'm not gonna say she shouldn't monetize her videos, I'm not gonna say she shouldn't make money. I am saying this is in really bad taste. And like, celebrities do make their lives public, but this is somebody's alleged rape at the hands of their spouse. So there is a line, and we passed it a couple mile markers ago. I'm also just really disgusted that SWOOP immediately buys into the narrative that Depp's team is, you know, fielding that Heard is a gold digger. She literally sings the gold digger song in this song. I am saying she's a gold digger. Like literally in the video, she sings the song about how, oh, Amber Heard clearly was with him for his money. Like, Pippin, stop it. Why? Why would you do that? Why do you think that's funny? You're making fun of somebody. Like, thing is, it would be totally fine to mock Amber Heard in any other situation. Oh, her wig in Aquaman is ugly. Yeah. Like, oh, maybe she's not a very good actress. But you're mocking her fucking domestic violence trial. I will just keep reiterating this is a domestic violence trial. Like, I will just keep saying it out loud until it fucking permeates people's heads that this is a domestic violence trial. I find it really disturbing that she buys into this narrative of Amber Heard as this like calculating, gold-digging, bisexual sex demon. Depp claims to have spent a lot of money on Heard and her friends, but he's a millionaire, he's a movie star, they have different relationships with money than we do. Like, people will just stay on each other's yachts. Like, it's not a normal way that people view money. So like, honestly, this does not hold water for me. I also don't see how it's relevant for Amber Heard to be called a gold digger anyway, because she didn't end up getting any money in the divorce. Like, it was given to her on the condition that she donate all of it to charity. So, if she's a gold digger, she's a bad one. SWOOP also extensively relies on body language analysis for this video, which is just a huge red flag to me that this is a person who you can't rely on their credibility, because body language analysis has been debunked by like every scientific study about it. Because everybody has different body language. There are cultural markers that change body language. People ask me if I sign because I gesture so much. It's just a feature of my cultural speech. I always move my hands a lot. It's just a thing that like Jews and Italians and Mediterranean people do. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, people have different ways of being, and also policing the way somebody acts at a domestic violence trial is really fucking shitty. Like, body language analysis isn't only not real, it's inadmissible. Like, you can't have like, I think the defendant is a bitch entered into the court docket. SWOOP also has a lot of double standards for Depp and Heard, which would be super funny if this wasn't literally a domestic violence trial, which I will keep saying. You can keep account if you'd like. She sympathizes with Depp when he talks about the abuse growing up, but says that all of Heard's testimony where she's trying to humanize herself is manipulative. Sure, Jan. And Johnny Depp has a lot of allegations, but no real proof. Amber has allegations and proof, years and years of it. But SWOOP literally says at one point, this is such a one-sided picture, but it's so telling. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. She says, like, I believe him because it feels honest. Does he? Okay, he's literally an actor. People believed him when he looked like a fucking pirate. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It felt honest when he was J.M. Barrie in Finding Neverland, too. But it doesn't mean it's real. To borrow a phrase from the Princess Weeks video that I referenced earlier, oh, we're just convicting on vibes then. Great. And again, it occurs to me that SWOOP places more value on the testimony that Depp gives than the years of evidence that Heard has collected. Really interesting. Heard has documentation, she has testimony from other relevant parties, but of course, Depp taking the stand and talking in a smarmy affect and then recalling his childhood trauma, that's more important than the literal documented abuse. Noted. Okay. She also does this thing that it's just such a double standard. It makes me cringe. She talks about how when Johnny Depp laughs, it's clearly a coping mechanism. Like, he's He's like, when he laughs, thinking of, like, talking about, like, what his mother used to do around the house, her, like, abuse of their family. When he's laughing, it's clearly a trauma response. But when Amber Heard, like, smirks or smiles or makes any kind of expression, she's like, wow, that she must be definitely guilty. She literally is like, wow, that's an expression. Okay, she's doing that. Like, it's so fucking exhausting. I don't know how, like, she could have, like, does she really believe this? I feel like I'm in the Matrix. Like, what's happening? She also interprets Amber's words in the way that puts Johnny in the best light. Like, why? Why are you doing this? She literally says at one point, I'm not gonna police trauma, but look at how she's behaving. Like, okay, then you literally are, though. This is literally policing trauma. She expects perfect victimhood from Amber, but actually endows that perfect victimhood onto Johnny Depp. Swoop says, as a victim of domestic violence, that Amber doesn't represent her. Like, this is when Amber's talking about fighting back when Johnny was hitting her, allegedly. And Swoop said that, like, Amber doesn't represent her as a victim of domestic violence. And I'm just personally really glad that Swoop was never in a position where she had to fight back, to fight for her life. I'm glad that I fought. I'm proud that I fought. I'm glad you never had to. At one point, Swoop says, imagine if the rules were reversed. You don't have to. You don't have to imagine if the roles were reversed. The roles are literally reversed. Amber is accusing Johnny Depp of abusing her. Johnny Depp is accusing Amber Heard of abusing him, and people believe him. You don't have to imagine it. The rules are literally reversed. It's a he said, she said situation, except that she has years of proof and he has vibes. Swoop also mocks the Paul Bettany texts, which is certainly a choice. She justifies telling someone that you want to burn and bury your wife, but Amber's trauma response isn't valid. It's totally understandable that he said that to someone. She also really, like, interprets a lot of stuff. Like, I understand this video is her opinion, but also the fact that her opinion, like, isn't... I mean, I watched it because I wanted to know what she had to say. But ultimately, to me, she's not a legal expert. She's not a therapist. Like, even if she was, she's not their lawyer or their therapist. Why the fuck does she think this is appropriate? My mind is exploding right now. She makes excuses for Johnny. She at one point says that she doesn't think Amber is scared of him because of the way she's acting. Okay, what is it you said about not policing trauma? Let's rewind to that. Let's see what you said. She also excuses some of Johnny's actions, saying that it's illegal to record people without their consent. Swoop, I don't know if you know that it's also illegal to rape people. She shames Amber Heard for her recreational drug abuse, but says that drug addiction is a disease, so we have to be respectful of that. Okay? She spends about half the video making fun of Amber for being self-conscious about how she looks, as though she isn't being literally looked at by the entire world in order to be mocked. Like, I'm sorry, the fact that you're mocking her appearance is an indication that she should be worried about how she looks. I can't. She talks about the lawyer trying to draw sympathy to Amber Heard when literally in the previous video, Johnny Depp is talking about his abusive family and his children in order to draw sympathy as the man in this situation. So, that dog won't hunt, Swoop. That dog will not hunt. Anytime Amber brings up her emotions, Swoop says that it's calculated for a reaction. When Depp does, she says it feels true. Swoop also repeatedly castigates Amber for either remembering too many details or not remembering enough, so which is it? And she clearly just feels so much contempt for Amber Heard. Like, she doesn't even treat her like a person. At one point, it's really funny actually, because she should be ashamed of herself. Swoop says, if it is true, we should all be ashamed. And yes, shame on you. Shame. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should take down these videos. You should apologize. Not to Amber Heard, because she won't see it. I hope, at least, that her people are keeping her away from the internet, but you should apologize to all the domestic abuse survivors who, watching your video, now know they would not be believed. Because that you would take the man's side. Because you would take the side of the famous person who everyone likes, instead of the woman who everyone has immediately hated since she became his spouse and his girlfriend in the public eye. You should fucking apologize. She also says that Amber didn't document enough, that there aren't enough photos. There are years, I think it is something like 6 years of documentation, which again will be linked in the description. I don't want to go over it. It disgusts me. I can't handle it. She also picks apart Amber's testimony about getting cut by glass, but when Johnny literally says that when Amber allegedly cut off his finger, which she didn't do, and he has said that she didn't do, again, in the description, that he didn't feel it, it just felt warm, and she just goes, as though she's sympathetic. Okay, Swoop, like, I really, at this point, I just want to cut the two videos together and, like, be like, make a video like Swoop having double standards for 10 minutes or something, like, because it is just, it's so fucking vile how much she hates this woman. She, like, also really picks on Amber Heard for having an inconsistent story, which is, like, when people are taking testimony, it is very common for stories to be inconsistent because human memory is not infallible, and also it's been years since this happened. She has probably forgotten a good bit of it due to both drug use and trauma. Like, and Depp has also been seriously inconsistent. He has told 3 or 4 different stories about how his finger got cut off too, and sworn under oath that he's also committed perjury, if you're going with the narrative that you seem to be with the second video. So I can't. When Depp remembers detail, she's just like, oh, it sticks in your mind. And when Amber does, she's like, that's her trying to be a naked narrative for the jury. She also denigrates Amber for not being able to leave the dangerous situation when she and Johnny, I believe, were in Australia. But, like, you're literally blaming the victim for not leaving? Okay, like, at this point, I think either Swoop is, like, I'm not going to try to psychoanalyze her, but, like, if you're a domestic violence survivor and you're not sympathetic to people who have a difficult time leaving, I don't know what's wrong with you. It's hard to leave. Leaving is the hardest thing to do. And I've literally seen so many people talk about how, like, even when you know someone who wants to kill you, it's hard to leave. Like, I don't know how many different ways to explain to you that you are treating this woman like she isn't even a human being. What's wrong with you? And then at the end of the video, this irony is sweet. She says that we need to focus on the abuser instead of questioning the victim. But she spends literally the entire video taking apart Amber's story because she doesn't believe her, and she never has. She immediately knew which dog she was gonna pick in this race. She knew which horse was her horse, and she didn't care about Amber at all. She thinks that Amber is less than nothing because she treats her that way in these videos. If you've watched them, you'll understand. She constantly picks apart Amber's testimony. Oh, Pippin. She constantly picks apart Amber's testimony. She insults her. She laughs at her. She mocks her marital discord. She mocks her trauma. She mocks her, like, any expression of vulnerability. She mocks her appearance. Like, this is a deeply sexist, deeply horrible thing to do to somebody, and I am just glad that Swoop isn't like a higher tier YouTuber. Like, she's a pretty decent mid-level. Like, she hasn't topped out at 1 million subscribers yet. I think of, like, you know, mid-tier account is anything below 700,000 subscribers. And, like, I am just so glad that 1 million people aren't going to see this because it is just so fucking damaging. And again, I know that, like, I've simped a lot for Princess Weeks in this video, but her video is a really great explanation of everything that I've talked about in more detail. Like, not about Swoop. I don't think she even knows who Swoop is. But she talks about, like, how this is going to affect people. And a lot of other journalists have also talked about, like, the impact this is going to have in other domestic violence cases, the precedent this could set for women and vulnerable people. And I encourage you to watch that because that video is actually informative. This one is just all rage all day. And I do want to thank you if you did watch. This video, I mostly made it because I'm so angry and sad. Like, SNL made a sketch this weekend about, like, oh, this domestic violence trial is super funny. This is all entertainment. And, like, if it had been satire and there had been literally, like, any moment in it where they were like, hey, this is a domestic violence trial, it shouldn't be funny, then I would have excused it maybe. But, like, the fact that it was just completely, like, bald-facedly like, this trial is fun. Like, this is not entertainment. Like, imagine if, like, I mean, I can't think of an analog because it's so fucked up. The idea that anyone could think that this is an appropriate use of their time to make fucking reaction content about a domestic abuse trial. And, like, This is about silencing Amber Heard. This is about silencing women. This is about silencing victims of abuse. This is about preventing people from speaking out when they have been hurt. And I'm not interested in being a party to the narrative that says that just because men can be victims, in this case, the man is, because he's a documented abuser. He is, before the Amber Heard stuff happened, he was known to be an abuser. He's known to be an abuser now. He probably will hurt people in the future. And I am completely disinterested in the human beings involved in this case because I don't know any of them. Amber Heard, I hope, will heal and get help and move on with her life. She appears to have a beautiful child and hopefully will have a career after all this. I don't know if this is going to be possible because they will have damaged her reputation beyond belief. Like, there's a point where Swoop actually mocks Amber for saying that her reputation is going to be damaged by all this. It has been. Johnny Depp is a millionaire. Amber Heard is a little bit famous. And at this point, this is the thing she's most famous for. This is her big thing. She is known for being Johnny Depp's abused ex-wife. That is her main claim to fame. So, thank you for watching. If you can, donate money to a local shelter for people fleeing abusive situations, or donate to your local abortion fund, because we're still dealing with all of that. Oh my God, the world is ending, my guy. The world is fucking ending. And, you know, block people who are saying abusive things. Try not to let it get to you too much, because after this, I'm gonna go read Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane and not think about this for a long while, because I need to subsist on some vibes, just some chill, and not think about how a woman is being mocked for her rape and abuse. So yeah, peace. Who's the little loaf cat? Oh, you are. Look at this handsome little man. Loaf. So handsome. You're handsome too.